Hola, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Karim Sabbath junto a Hernán Bórquez en una edición especial de PowerMetal.cl, el podcast live que estamos en este momento esperando a que el gran Michael Romeo de Symphony se conecte para poder comentar un poco lo que se viene en este show que se va a realizar. A ver, vamos a hacer un poco de promoción mientras se conecta. Obviamente, primero, Hernán, ¿cómo estás? Fue muy veloz
Todo
mi
bien,
introducción.
sí, no, todo bien. Aquí con ganas de hablar con el gran Michael Romeo, sí, obvio. Un buen invitado.
Antes, antes de contarles cómo se dio esto, primero que recordemos, ayer hablamos de un poco de Symphony X, todo, nosotros sabíamos que podía pasar esto, como no estaba confirmado hasta hoy día a las 10 de la mañana, algo así, no lo anunciamos ayer, si no lo hubiéramos comentado ayer como parte del programa. Bueno, recuerden que Symphony X va a estar viniendo a Chile el próximo 2 de agosto, se va a presentar el Teatro Caupolicán, en lo que se enmarca en el 25 aniversario de la banda, y que estará siendo acompañado por Sinner's Blood. Les voy a dejar el link de dónde comprar las entradas si que aún no han comprado, porque este es un show imperdible, que yo me voy a perder lamentablemente porque estoy en Arica.
Claro, sí.
Es un imperdible que me voy a perder, así la tónica, pero bien. Y que Hernán se va a perder porque está en Inglaterra y dudo que pueda viajar para ir a ver el show.
Sí, de
Los
hecho,
dos
de
buenos que estamos
hecho,
acá, nos vamos a estar en el
de,
show.
de hecho, en honor al tiempo no lo voy a preguntar, pero le voy a decir que estoy picado porque una de las razones del por qué iba a ir a Hellfest es porque tocaba Symphony X y cancelaron, pues entonces, ¿cachai? Como le decir, oye, weón, me cancelaron, pero bueno, creo que es una entrevista no tan larga, así que se salvó de la pregunta.
Bueno, vamos a ver, la gente ya está conectada. Violent Mind 85, nuestro gran y querido mecenas Herrera Scott. Recuerden a todos los demás que también hacemos promoción patreon.com, powermetal.cl. Y ya que vamos a parar esto, vamos a cambiar acá y vamos a conectar aquí. Y vamos a hacer un ajuste. Y ahí está. Hello, Michael, how are you?
Hey, Michael,
hear me?
can you hear us?
Yes, we hear you.
Ooh,
Can you hear us?
Hear you.
Can you hear us?
I think we have some technical difficulties. We can hear you very well. We're not sure if you can hear. Yeah, parece que don Michael tiene algunos problemas de audio, pero
Debe estar arreglándolo.
sí. Problemas de estudio, sí, ¿eh?
Sí.
Le falta el instrumento.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Because I can't hear you.
We can hear you very well. Can you?
That's good.
Yeah, that's odd.
Gracias a Paula. Vamos a decir la producción.
You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you very well.
I don't hear you.
No. It's very...
Oh.
¿Él ve el chat, Karim?
Yes. Hello.
I hear you very well.
I don't hear anybody. No?
Hear each
Hang
other.
on.
Hello.
That's a shame.
Estamos tratando de que dice que Expansion nos dice que se escuchan los dos, pero
I got you. I didn't
Yes.
have
Oh,
my-
brilliant. Good. You can hear us now.
Yeah, because
hello.
I didn't have it set right, obviously. So it's
That's all right. Yeah. I mean, what is a streaming session without technical difficulties, right?
Well, normally it's pretty smooth, man. You know.
All right.
Normally it's pretty smooth. Yeah, I guess there was a thing there. I had to switch the sound device to this thing.
Good. Yeah. No, at least we can hear each other now. But yeah, we're very excited to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
No, man. Thanks
Mike.
for having me.
I'm Karim Saba. Is Hernán Bórquez. I will be conducting and Hernán will be making the interview because he lives in England and talks better English than me.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try to make, obviously, translate a little bit of our conversation. We're not to bore you. We're gonna try to keep it quite smooth and quick.
All right, so
But yeah, empiezo nomás, Karim.
Let's go.
Right. Yeah. So to make the most out of your time, well, first of all, as I said, thanks very much for joining us. Very excited, a big fan. So yeah, a pleasure. Right, let's dive into the upcoming show. This show I think is very special because it has been branded as a greatest hits type of show. Because it's not like the typical show where you're promoting maybe like a new release. This is a bit different. So in that context, a few questions. Everybody, our followers always ask us, asking like, how do these guys come up with the set list? They have 9 albums, they're all brilliant, all songs. I'm sure you have been asked this before, but what is the process like? It's like, you all chip in a bit, or is it a bit what do you consider when it comes to choosing songs to put it together?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a thing, it's always a task to do. But I think normally, all of us in the band kind of have our favorites.
Right.
So we'll have a couple, let's maybe try this one, and we'll get a little set list together, or not a set list, but we'll get collection of stuff that we think would be good.
Based on your own liking, so to speak.
Yeah, and also thinking about, like sometimes on a record there's a song that we all like, but maybe live, it just, like sometimes songs on record are come across good, but maybe live they don't. Or vice versa, maybe sometimes a song on a record's like, yeah, it's okay, but live it's like, oh wow, that really has this energy. So I mean, we're thinking about all that. So we'll try to just get a bunch of songs, couple from every record, and then we start trying to narrow it down by placement, or it's like, all right, let's try these couple, or maybe let's put this one here, because I think that's what we all the goal for us is like just a set list that feels good, has a strong beginning and it kind of dips down and has a good finale, and then there's something at the end. So trying to find that where it always feels like it's moving. It's not like, oh man, this is boring right here. Let's go.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, but it's good. So you see it as a whole, like like a product. Basically, you're delivering a product, and a pretty good one in my opinion. Yeah.
Hopefully,
yeah. Just a second for a bit of a translation. ¿Lo hago yo? ¿Lo haces tú, Karim?
O sea, lo que yo entendí básicamente es que para elegir las canciones que va a tocar en vivo, básicamente trabaja canciones que van a funcionar en vivo. Hay canciones que él piensa que pueden ser geniales, pero que en vivo pueden ser un poco aburridas, y eso es lo que manda. Quiere hacer un show que sea lo más entretenido posible, entonces elige lo que él cree, lo que ellos creen que va a tener más potente, van a ser más potente el show, que más que elegir las canciones más perfectas o más complejas.
Claro, pero también basado en los gustos de ellos. Dijo que era obviamente algo en donde todos contribuyen. Right. So so the next questions in regard with that. Yeah, I mean that answers a bit my second question, which was that I always wonder whether you guys kind of play the things that you really like or the things that you think it work better. But obviously, I get that it's a bit of a mixture there.
Yeah, I mean, usually they're kind of the same. Most of the time, the songs that we do like. Most of the time, those are the ones that translate really well live. And then sometimes, like, there's that one, it's like, well, yeah, it never really was right. And, we have too much stuff anyway, so let's maybe put that one aside and let's concentrate on these.
And I think that actually, it actually communicates when musicians are actually enjoying themselves on the show. Obviously, that makes the people obviously, get going and stuff. So yeah, and obviously I have witnessed that in Symphony X shows.
Yeah,
I'm gutted actually. Sorry. Continue.
We goof around a little bit, but we have fun.
But I mean, it would be boring if you wouldn't be woofing a bit. I was just gutted because I wanted to go to Hellfest. Well, I went to Hellfest and I was really excited about you actually. I mean, it sounds like I'm just being a fun, doing a fun thing, but honest, when I saw the Symphony X is going to be playing in Hellfest, I was like, hell yes, I'm going to go, because I wasn't sure. And then unfortunately, guys, you couldn't make it. So I just hope that I have the chance to catch you on some of the tour or something.
I mean, that was just, it was a tough thing because there were some festivals on the first weekend and there was some on the second weekend. And for us to fly and to stay, it's like we tried to get a show in the middle of the week there. And then, there was Israel, there was all these different countries, and then some had this COVID restriction and some had this and that. And then it just started to be like, oh my God, it's like, everything could just go off the rails if
right.
If someone in your party tests positive when you get here, and it's just like, oh man. So I mean, we just wanted to play it safe, and it's like, because financially that would be really difficult.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah. So just a second to tell our guys. Sí, entonces Karim ahí, bueno, no sé si cachaste lo que dijo el último.
O sea, dale tú, porque no
Sí,
la sé la idea. Dale.
Sí, no, bueno, básicamente complementó un poco la idea de que tratan de que los shows sean bien entretenidos, de que igual huevean un poco y que generalmente las canciones que a ellos les gustan también son las que funcionan mejor en vivo y lo que le gustan a la gente. Y con respecto, y también nos habló un poquito de que tuvieron que cancelar las giras por Europa porque, restricciones de COVID y logística y cosas, digamos, bastante que lo hicieron un poquito complicado. So you have been in Chile a couple of times now, and I just wanted to ask if you have any special memories. I myself have a very, very fond memories of that. I don't know if you remember, but back in 2013, we did have something called the Metal Fest, and for us Chileans, I think it was the very first time that we did have a really powerful lineup of like 10 or 12 bands that were sort of headliners and stuff. So I mean, I just have very, very fond memories. So do you have any memories from playing in Chile?
And that one, that was kind of a long time ago. I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone 2013. No, man, it's always great down there, and the fans are always just so enthusiastic, man. You kind of feel this energy and very passionate about music, and that's how we are too. So I mean, it's always great. That's why coming down, doing it again, kind of getting the band, like we were saying before, we did a tour here, just get things rolling again. I think we all need it. We all need it.
Sí, bueno, ahí Michael estaba diciendo que le encanta, obviamente, tocar en Chile porque, bueno, lo que siempre dicen todas las bandas, que el entusiasmo, que somos muy apasionados y todo, y que en verdad no se acuerda mucho de que fue en 2013 porque ya pasó hace mucho tiempo y con suerte se recuerda de lo que hizo ayer, dice. Right, so you touched upon COVID, obviously, when we were talking about festivals. So, and then again, I suppose that, you have been asked this a million times, but people likes to know or would like to know, if, how these things affected, I mean, in terms of the pandemic, affected you personally, the band, the dynamics. I mean, besides, obviously, not being able to play live, we all know what that means and what it entails, and it's got massive implications at all levels. But I mean, how you guys getting? I mean, I suppose that things are looking good now, but how tough was the whole thing for you guys?
I mean, like everybody else, I mean, it was just a tough thing to deal with, and just kind of bizarre, not seeing our friends around town or the streets are empty, and with the band, like, we hadn't seen each other because we're not all in New Jersey. We're kind of spread around the country. So, like, we didn't even, we would talk and we would, try to keep up, but just being together in a room, there's something to be said about that. And I think once we had the US tour coming up and we were practicing again, for the first time in like 2.5 years, being in the room together. I mean, that was like, that was really great. So, leading up to that point, man, like everybody, man, it sucked. We weren't sure what the heck we were going to do. We were talking about a record. I mean, we're still working on a record now, but
it was good to know.
Even for me, I just, it was hard to find inspiration. Everything sucked. It's like, okay, I want to write something cool, but everything sucks. It's like, all right.
And that, I suppose, you as a composer, your mood and how you feel permeates, through obviously your writing process, then, I suppose.
I mean, and it might be cool for a song or two. It's like, I'm pissed off and shit sucks, and it's like, okay, there's that song, but it's like, there needs to be other things. And I think mentally, again, like everybody, I think it kind of took its toll a little bit, but now, things are, kind of normal. And again, the band we're playing and that first run we did, I mean, it was just it was great to be back.
Actually,
It was like, it was just great.
yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about if you remember what was the first show that you did get placed in that US tour, right after. I mean, the first show that you could actually play after the pandemic. What did it feel like? Was it weird to be back in the stage, or was like nothing happened? There's not. I don't know.
No, oh yeah, it was weird, man. It was weird because it was in New York, and yeah, man, the first couple seconds it was like, it's like, oh, I kind of remember doing this. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what we used to do. So yeah, man, and just the logistics of things, and gear, might have been some gear problems, or might have been this, just all those things that maybe you don't think about. It's like, okay, remember the songs and we're practicing, but it's like, oh, this and that. So I mean, the shows were good, but yeah, those first couple, just kind of getting back, just in your head about, oh yeah, man, I remember this, and then it was fine.
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah.
All right, yeah. ¿Le comentamos algo, Karim?
Sí, yo lo comento. Básicamente, Hernán preguntó sobre cómo vivió Symphony X el tiempo de la pandemia de COVID. Dice que primero que todo era muy raro, fue de repente se acabó todo, de repente no había show, de repente no había contacto entre ellos personal, o sea, solo hablar a través de teléfono, como todos hicimos. De hecho, recordemos que el podcast parte gracias a esto. Después intentaron hacer funcionar las cosas, incluso empezaron a componer un álbum, algo de lo que no teníamos ni idea, que era la clásica pregunta si estaban componiendo o no, pero que incluso todo era estaban tan apestados del mundo que claro, les funcionó este enojo, esta rabia para componer 2 o 3 canciones, pero era suficiente. O sea, ellos no son una banda que esté inspirada en el odio, por decirlo así. O sea, entonces esa mentalidad les funcionó un rato, pero después los cansaba. Y por suerte ahora volvieron, y Hernán le preguntó cómo sintió volver a tocar en vivo, que fue un show en New York, y que fue como, oye, esto es súper raro, o sea, después de 2 años, 3 años encerrados donde no se veían, estar frente al público, estar compartiendo, y al principio fue raro, si bien el show de haber sido muy bueno, pero pasaron 2 o 3 shows hasta que ya se acostumbraron nuevamente, básicamente eso.
Yeah, sí, buen resumen. Yeah, so actually, again, you partially answered the next questions that I had. The last question regarding COVID, that I wanted to know to what extent the pandemic played a part in the fact that, we haven't had a new release of Symphony X in quite some time now.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely that. It was just a lot of things. The band was on hiatus for a while, and then it's like, okay, 2019, we started playing again. It's like, okay, we'll start working on a new record. Then boom, 2020, and it's like, oh crap, now what's this? What's this now? So
it did play a part. Let's say.
Oh yeah. And even just for me, even just like coming down here to write, I try to come down here and write. I mean, making my way is just slower than normal. It's definitely weird. It's just taking a minute to kind of just get back to that thing. And I mean, now it's definitely better, but there was a time it was like I would just blank out. I don't know if it was some COVID thing. I'm like, holy shit, I can't remember what the hell was I just thinking. What was I just playing here? So there was some things, and maybe it's mental, who knows. But as
I
things
can relate
get better,
100%. Yeah.
I'm saying as things get better now, we're playing again. Everything's starting to feel normal. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, good to know. Yeah, no, I can relate completely. I undertook my doctoral studies, before COVID, and I was like, I'm nailing this, I'm smashing this shit, and I haven't finished, and I'm not even. I mean, it's mentally exhausting, and I haven't been able to pick up the my sort of the rhythm that I had. I don't know. It's difficult, but yeah,
no, I get it, man. I get it. No, I totally get it, man. I totally get it.
So yeah, next question. What do I have here? Yeah, we talk about this. So I gathered that you guys have plans to record a new album.
Yeah, like I said, now that we've been back together and just playing live, just that thing.
Yeah, right.
Like that first day, it's like, oh my god, I kind of remember this, and I look over at Russ, and we're cracking jokes, and it's like, oh yeah, it's just like just like old times,
Yeah.
So then we did talk a little bit about a record, and I think all of us too is in that kind of just trying to get back into the groove of it, because for us to write something, I mean, for me, it helps to have a theme or an idea or some kind of topic or something. and then the music just kind of follows. I mean, we were talking about some things on the bus, but still kind of maybe haven't found that thing yet, but we will.
Yeah, I get it, yeah. ¿Lo comentamos un poco, Karim?
O sea, siguiendo la idea anterior del tema de componer un disco, ya se juntaron, están en este momento dedicados a tocar y pasarlo bien, tocando en vivo, tocando por todo el mundo.
Ese es el mensaje
Y
principal, sí,
claro,
están como enfocados en tocar.
sí,
Hay planes, pero como que
exacto.
están enfocados en tocar, sí.
Como juntarse con la gente, sentir eso que lo hace ser banda, que eso que les gusta. Y el punto es que si están componiendo, sí, tienen la idea de componer algo, pero todavía no encuentran
Ese tópico o como algo, sí.
esa cosa que le diga, esto es lo que queremos hablar, o este es nuestro mensaje, o esto es lo que queremos hacer. O sea, todavía están dándole vuelta y algo va a salir, pero por ahora están enfocados 100% en ser una banda en vivo.
Sí, eso para darle tranquilidad a los fans, a mí mismo, de hecho, que también sabía. Es bueno que hay planes, pero no se sabe cuándo. Right, yo. In terms of, I think I'm allowed to ask you actually something about your solo career. You know, a couple of
You can
albums.
ask whatever you want. Yeah, you can
Brilliant, awesome. Yeah, no, we well in our websites, PowerMetal.cl, we really love both of your albums. Really, you know, War of the Worlds Part 1 and Part 2. So I would like to ask you, one or two things about that. You know, I mean, brilliant. So could you sort of maybe tell us in a few words, like, what were your main motivations to further your solo career? Because, you know, your last solo album was, I think, in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. And then, so what were your motivations to write these two albums? So how did this happen?
I mean, probably the first thing, I mean, Russ was involved in the accident, you know, and we weren't sure. I mean, he wasn't sure. After that, what would happen? I think the whole band were kind of uncertain as to if we were going to keep going or, you know, and Russ, I mean, you know, he needed some time. You know, he said, "Hey, man, I just need some time to kind of sort things out." And, you know, understandably, of course, I mean, he's my bro, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all had some time. The band's on hiatus. So I was like, okay, you know, there is some things I like to try and, you know, maybe more orchestral, cinematic with metal and maybe some electronic stuff in there. Just, you know, just being creative.
Is that something that you had in the back of your head? I see, like, you know, you wanted to do something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wanted to just do, you know, the stuff that I like, you know, and I love, obviously, you know, metal and guitar riffs and cinematic film music and even some electronic stuff, just a lot of different kinds of music, and just kind of trying to jam all those ideas together and just do a solo thing with it. So, I mean, I had started to do it and, you know, and I just kept writing and then when I was done, there was actually 2 records. That's why the first one was Part 1.
Right.
Because I knew back then in 2018 or whatever it was, you know, that there was going to be 2s. There was so much stuff. And then I put that Part 2 on the back burner. It's like, okay, let's, you know, 2019, the band's playing again. It's like, let's see what happens. And then, you know, here comes, you know, 2020 and that whole disaster. So then I did have some time to go back and complete that, which was 90% done, you know, almost done.
Good. Sí, bueno, comentarles que bueno, no sé si recuerdan, pero Russell Allen tuvo un accidente, creo que fue con la banda completa de Adrenaline Mob. Y obviamente después de eso, Russell dijo que necesitaba un tiempo, obviamente, y ahí la banda Symphony X entra en un hiato, ¿no es cierto? Y que por ahí eso fue un poquitito el camino para que nacieran estos álbumes, que Michael dice que desde un principio sabía que quería hacer 2 álbumes y tenía todas estas ideas de hacer algo cinemático, algo un poquito electrónico o algunas cosas que quizás no hacía tanto en Symphony X. Entonces, como que ese fue un poco el cómo se dieron estos álbumes. And how do you know, you have the music, you know, composed everything, you write your music, brilliant. How do you come about choosing a singer?
Oh, for the first one, it was actually just a friend of mine.
Okay.
Know? Yeah, and then for the second one, I you know, I wanted to do something a little different, maybe try some different people, and the guy who helps me, you know, do all the recording and the mixing is Simone Mulleroni.
Right.
he was like, oh, maybe you should check out my friend Dino. Him and Dino were good friends, and I was familiar with Dino a little bit. So yeah, we talked, and he was like, oh, dude, I'd love to do it, and a little back and forth, and I was like, all right, perfect. He was excited to do it, and that's the thing. It's as long as everybody you know kind of understands what it is, and wants to make it their own, and put their stamp on it, that's cool, man. I think the only thing he said, he's like, oh man, maybe I want to sing a little heavier for this stuff, and I was like,
right, yeah.
okay, yeah,
perfect. Yeah, and were you happy with the whole outcome of both albums? I mean, because the reception was really good, so I suppose you were happy with that as well.
Yeah, no, man, it was it was great. It's fun, and like I said, man, just to be creative and try different things that I like and different styles, and again, like Symphony X, like the band, working with guys that I'm friends with, guys I'm close with, John Macaluso and John DeServio and Dino now, so there's something just about that process of being creative and with people that that are cool.
Yeah, and I suppose it's really, really difficult, but do you think that there is any chance that we may be able to see something live of War of the Worlds at some point?
I mean, I never thought about it, honestly. Right. I mean, because it was like it was about more about the record and
yeah, I get
doing
it.
as much as possible. It's like if there's got to be 30 guitar tracks, 30 guitar tracks, put them,
and
put them on.
That would make it. I mean, it would be mad. I mean, yeah, I can imagine how difficult must be to put all those things live, for them to sound in the way that you would like to, like you would have to. It's a monstrosity. I mean, in a good way, it's massive.
It would be a lot of work, and I mean, but that was never the intention. The intention was to do things. I mean, who knows? Down the road, you never know. But now, after all this COVID and all this, now that the band is back and Symphony X, and we're touring and we're playing and working on a record, I mean, that's the priority right now.
Right, yeah. Comentamos rapidito eso.
Yo le explico. Dale, mira, básicamente Hernán continuó el tema de los discos solistas que se lanzó recientemente en 2018 y 2021, Michael Romeo. Primero le preguntó sobre los cantantes, cómo era la selección de cantantes, y el primero, que fue Rick Castellano, es un amigo personal de Michael Romeo, por eso lo eligió, y para el segundo disco se puso en contacto con Simone Mularoni, quien le recomendó a Dino Jelusic, que ya lo conocía, por tanto le pareció interesante, y esto. Y vino la segunda pregunta que hizo Hernán, es si habrá un tercer disco o de
alguna posibilidad de verlo en vivo, básicamente.
O verlo en vivo, pero dice que no lo sabe, o sea, no puede decirlo, que es un trabajo enorme para hacer un tercer disco, todo esto, pero que actualmente está concentrado en Symphony X solo por los shows en vivo, porque está componiendo para próximamente, o sea, pero no se niega, o sea, si sale algo, puede salir.
Básicamente dice que nunca fue, no lo niega tajantemente, pero dice que la intención nunca fue presentarlo en vivo, tampoco era algo que él quería como hacer full en estudio. Eso es lo que por lo menos creo que por ahí van los tiros. Sí, nos quedan 2-3 minutos, Karim. Voy con las últimas preguntas.
Dale la última pregunta sobre Chile, dale.
Vale. Yeah, so yeah, I think we have 30 minutes, so I think that we just have probably 2 or 3 minutes left, so I suppose I'm gonna ask you. I have a few questions that I'm not gonna be able to do it now. But...
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I mean,
oh, awesome! Oh, awesome! Thank you. Yeah,
let it ride, dude.
Brilliant. Thank you. So yeah, so we talk about Symphony. We're gonna go back to Symphony X, but then I ask you about your solo project, and then one of the other, one of the last things that you have been involved, it was that wonderful song of Star One album. Wow. That song that you actually got to play this brilliant solo, and we in this website, we obviously we follow that release very closely. We think Britney's Lace was a really good combination with a really good pick for that song. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you about that collaboration, how you felt, like if you knew maybe her. I mean, I'm talking about Britney Lace, the singer of Unleash the Archers. So yeah, just a little bit about this song, how it came to be, the collaboration, because you had collaborated with Arjen before in Dawn of a Million Songs, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I really don't know all the internal workings, of what he's going on. I mean, usually it starts, he'll just, Arjen will just get, contact me, and he's like, oh man, I got this song. It'd be great if you could do a solo on it. And I mean, I've always done stuff with him over the years. I'm like, yeah, sure. So like that's kind of like, my involvement. It's like, and I know that it's always great. Anything he does is always great. So if I can add to it, and he's always cool. He's like, hey man, do what you think is right, and hopefully I do what's right. I mean, most of the time I would
Oh,
hope so.
you sure do, mate. Yeah, yeah. It was funny because preparing this interview, I read a little bit about that first collaborations that you guys did. And yeah, and Argent states something really funny in his website. He says something like, yeah, I got in touch with, Michael, and he sent me, this solo. And after I heard his, the solo for the first time, I didn't want to play my guitar for months because I was like, what is the point? This guy is a monster. So yeah, he speaks very highly of you. And
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, and again, going back to like friends and there's people that get along that understand what another artist is doing. I mean, I think we have that thing. So when he's like, "Oh, I got something, I'd like you to play on," usually I have a pretty good idea of what he's looking for.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully I can deliver that. Yeah, I mean, as far as all the other stuff, I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm sure it worked. I mean, it did work very well. I think that, at least for me and my friends, we actually that song, your song, is the best of the song that we like the most of the album. Very uplifting and stuff. So yeah. Sí, no, solo comentar eso, que él decía que le encantó colaborar obviamente con Argen de nuevo. Él había colaborado antes en Arion y ahora en Star One, y que él no está muy involucrado en todo el proceso, ¿cachai? Yo le pregunté un poco por Britney, pero no me dijo mucho. Entonces dice que obviamente él pone su granito de arena y que le gusta mucho colaborar con él, que él sabe más o menos lo que él quiere, y que eso, que valora mucho eso de que él sabe qué es lo que el otro músico está esperando, y al revés también, y que por el otro lado saben que pueden conseguir con él. Así que tenía una buena impresión de esa colaboración. This is the penultimate question. Most of us, consider that you guys are, one of the titans, of the prog metal scene. Obviously I grew up, listening to you guys along with other really big bands in the 90s, Pain of Salvation, Dream Theater, Queen's Rush, all like the really, really big bands. And then I think that, after in the last decade, then there is like this new wave of really, really big bands nowadays as well from the prog scene that, that basically that joined you guys, as in like Haken, Lepers, I don't know, Caligula's Horse, etc. And so yeah, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the prog metal scene these days? And then along with that, then I wanted to ask you if you listen to some of this music or some of these bands or stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hear it. Usually if I'm just listening, for me, I just go back to the stuff that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'll go back to Sabbath and Rush.
Yeah,
and Priest and
the good
ELP.
stuff.
I mean, no, and there's a lot of new good stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about Haken. I mean, we just
you did tour with them, I think. Yeah,
we just did. And again, yeah, I mean, there's so many different kinds of styles of prog, and some guys are heavier, and some guys are more kind of old school. And so, I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of it, and I think there's a lot of great stuff. But for me, just to listen, I just go back to the stuff I grew up with. And the thing I will say, though, I mean, a lot of times, and I was guilty of this too. Like when you're younger, it's like, oh man, you want to do all these notes and you want to make it so complicated and da 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 da. And then sometimes you kind of lose focus of maybe the melody or the chorus. And I think for us, for Symphony X, just as we get older, it's like start to appreciate some of those other things. Like I can look at Rush as the perfect example.
Yeah.
Of complexity, but good songs. Songs
feeling
that,
like
songs that anyone can kind of listen to, and maybe it's in 7, maybe it's in 5, or it's in some a different time signature, but just the way that they do it. I mean, when I was young, I didn't appreciate that as much as I do now. It's that, yeah, you can be proggy and you can be progressive and it could be complex and it could be kind of intricate, but it's that walking that line where it's like, okay, you know, we still want to have a good song. You know?
And I think that the genre actually, you know, carries that sort of, you know, weight that, you know, sometimes it's too much about the complexity and not necessarily the feeling. I must say though, and actually this is gonna sound very kind of convenient in this circumstance, but I think that Symphony has never sort of, you know, fall into that sort of just doing, you know, fireworks just for the sake of doing it. They are always, you know, in the servicing the song. I think so. Yeah. ¿Lo comentáis, Karim?
Sí, básicamente Hernán le preguntó que él viene de la época como anterior de bandas de metal progresivo, está Dream Theater, Pain of Salvation, y ahora de nueva generación, como está Haken, por ejemplo, con quien giraron hace unos tiempos en Estados Unidos, y le preguntó si la ha escuchado o no, y primero dice sí, ha escuchado alguna, pero él cuando tiene que escuchar bandas empieza a escuchar con lo que él creció, Ratchet, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, y a la vez cuando le empieza el tema, él dice que de repente siente que hay muchas bandas que por ser muy progresivas se olvidan de lo que es el sonido, de lo que es la melodía, lo que son los coros. Y que ellos cuando eran jóvenes también pensaban eso y que hoy en día se dan cuenta que bandas como Rush nunca se complicaron con eso. Si bien eran progresivas, componían en distintos tiempos, todo, al final tú puedes escuchar tranquilamente Rush porque en todo tiempo, en todo momento las canciones son entretenidas, tienen melodías, tienen juegos que cualquier persona puede escuchar. Y ese es como al fondo incluso un consejo para de repente para las bandas progresivas no ser tan proggy, por decirlo así.
Claro, sí, no ser tan compleja si no es necesario. Sí, yeah. So yeah, going back to Symphony X, I'm just going to ask you the last two things. So, well, one thing is that, you know, we talk a little bit about that future plans and everything, but something that I'm sure you're aware of, but something that, you know, today we were like, you know, oh, we're going to have, you know, this interview with Michael Romeo. People got really excited. We had a lot of comments straight away. And then I'm pretty certain that the comment that repeated the most was like, we don't have any official Blu-rays, any official DVDs, you know, like basically they really, really want to have something. I mean, me included, you know, having like sort of a record of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I suppose what I want to say is that hopefully in the future, you know, if you have the chance, it would be awesome if you guys can actually record a Blu-ray or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's something, you know, we never really talked about it a little bit. And I don't know, does people even have, you know, DVD players anymore?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I mean,
I suppose it goes with like, you know, having like a show that, yeah.
No, I agree. No, we really should do something. And again, too, it's, you know, money plays a part a little bit because it's like, you know, you just don't want to go up there and be like, okay, you know, I'm going to try to do something, you know, a little more with the show. And, you know, all that stuff costs money, but I'm sure we can find some middle ground where it still could be a really good show and make sense.
Yeah. See,
we just got to get back to playing now. That's like the main, you know, step one. Just
absolutely, and the priority, absolutely, and we are happy about that because that's what we want, you know, to get to see Symphony X again. So yeah, I'm just going to translate that a bit. Sí, entonces sí decía que una de las preguntas de ustedes, muchachos, que más nos repetían es como van a grabar un DVD, van a grabar un Blu-ray y todo. Y bueno, como pueden haber quizás deducido, dice que, bueno, él insiste, la prioridad aquí es tocar, es volver a tocar, volver al escenario, no tiene tantos planes a futuro, pero y que obviamente también hay un tema de lucas, que es súper caro hacer un Blu-ray o algo así, entonces, claro, dice, puede ser que encontremos un happy medium, ¿cachai? Como un término medio para poder, de hecho, grabar algo, pero en este minuto me parece que deja bastante en claro en todas las preguntas que la prioridad es simplemente volver a los escenarios. So yeah, Michael, it's been wonderful to be talking to you. So I'm just going to ask you the last question, which is the typical thing, I feel like, you know, to finish, you know, if you want to send a message for all of your Chilean fans and why we shouldn't, well, I'm not going to be there, I'm in the UK, but why they shouldn't miss this upcoming show.
Because it's going to be great, man. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And it's been so long, you know, I mean, just for everybody, just to kind of be at a show again, you know, after all that time of not being able to do these kind of things. So, yeah, I think, you know, everybody's going to have a great time. I mean, we're going to have a great time getting back out there. I mean, we feel it every night when we're playing again. Like I look over at the guys and, you know, Russ, and, you know, we're smiling and we're having a good time and it feels great. And the audience is excited. And and they're happy, and it's just a great thing, you know, for everybody. So yeah, man, I mean, we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. ¿Le dais tú, Karim?
Sí, básicamente la pregunta clásica es ¿por qué ir al show? Y dice que va a ser un show tremendo, va a ser espectacular y que básicamente es un imperdible, aunque yo estoy
que ha
en la
pasado
línea y me
tanto
va a perder,
tiempo. Claro, sí, yo
y Hernán se va a
también. Sí.
perder.
Sí, dice, claro, que ha pasado tanto tiempo, entonces que, de hecho dice la talla que dice como, pero es obvia la respuesta, ¿cachai? Que es imperdible. Así que eso, ¿tenía alguna otra pregunta, Karim? Yo creo que lo despedimos, ¿no?
No, nada, vamos cerrando porque yo te iré a atender pacientes.
Right, yeah, right, Michael, we're gonna leave you to it, but we are absolutely, you know, grateful. It was wonderful to have the chance to talk to you. Yeah, and all the best in this tour. You know, we're sure we're gonna smash it, and yeah.
Yeah, no, like I said, man, we're having a good time, and it feels good for us to be out there. So, you know,
awesome.
just seeing the fans, connecting with the fans, and feeling that energy of everybody. I mean, yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah, that fits the soul, actually, you know, after all these years. Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks very much for joining us, Michael, and yeah, all the best. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Man. Thanks, guys. Yeah,
brilliant.
Thank you,
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Again.
Have a good day,
Cheers.
man.
You too, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Se desconectó, espérate, volvamos antes de irnos, vamos a cerrar de nuevo. Bueno, y eso fue la entrevista que les teníamos preparada, sorpresa de día lunes para esta semana, en lo que es el camino a Symphony X 2022 en Chile. Recuerden que el show es el próximo 2 de agosto, creo que es día martes, el Teatro Caupolicán, que yo no voy a estar porque estoy en Arica, y acá don Hernán, porque está en Inglaterra, tampoco va a poder asistir al show imperdible. Sí. Esto se marca el 25 aniversario de la banda. Y acompañando va a estar, ojo, Sinner's Blood, banda chilena, que va a ser su estreno en vivo, espectacular, banda imperdible de la nueva camada de bandas chilenas.
Oye, sí, solamente sí, comentar rapidito que muchas gracias a todos por sus comentarios, por las preguntas, por el entusiasmo. Tratamos, como teníamos poquito tiempo, yo traté de mirar todos sus comentarios y extraje una o dos preguntas que tenían ahí, de las que eran más representativas. Así que eso, gracias por el entusiasmo y vayan, va a estar imperdible.
Recuerden apoyarnos en el Patreon de PowerMetal.cl. Nos vemos como siempre los domingos en PowerMetal.cl, el podcast live. No se pierdan este show y bueno, aquí estaremos buscando más entrevistas, todo eso. Muchas gracias por su sintonía, que estén muy bien.
Chao. Gracias a todos. Chao, 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 chao.